Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the XP podcast. My name is Rob, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, starting with Adam. Adam, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty great. Happy 2022, Rob.
2022, guys. Let's go.
First pod of the new year.
Let's go. Let's go. New first episode of the year. New year in total. Hopefully, this is a good one. This is a good one. Austin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. I've actually been a little bit sick the past few days, but I'm recovering and I got to take days off of work, which was really nice.
Nice.
So, but I'm good. I tested negative, so
Good. That's awesome.
Which seems to be a rarity these days. But yeah,
Yeah.
doing great. 2022. We'll see. Let's just do it.
This seems like a good one, boys. I think this is gonna be this is our year.
This will be the one. This is the year, right? Right? It's the year.
Oh my god.
I'm good.
We just came off of the holidays with a lot of us being on a break. Some of us were on a break. Some of us were visiting family. Some of us were making coffee for people, which is what I was doing, and it was fun.
Nice.
And so we're back again. Level 24 of the XP podcast. I'm really excited to be back doing this again. It's been a while since the last one where we talked about the Game Awards. So if you're watching or listening, make sure you go back and listen to that if you missed it. But without further ado, let's get into the introduction so we can get into the main part of this show. Welcome to the XP podcast. We talk about all things video games and bring topics to the digital table for your amusement. If you have any questions, comments, or corrections, send them our way on Twitter at Ambitious Casual. And if you're watching on YouTube, leave them in the comments, press the like button, and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's get into the show real quick before we get into side quests, which is our quick bits before we get into the main thing. Those who have listened before, there was an email that was used that you can send in your questions and comments, stuff like that. That email does not work anymore. Your boy has been trying to, fix some things on the back end and stuff like that. So do not send any questions or anything like that to the XP podcast at ambitiouscasual.com. That doesn't work. It's going to go nowhere. So if you want to send questions, hit us up on Twitter. Even if you listen on the podcast, just jump over to the YouTube feed real quick, leave your comment in the video in the comment section, and then let's go from there. And then hopefully in the near future, I can finally have something that you can. If you don't want to do either of those, you can go to there soon. But without further ado, let's enter into the side quest, which is our quick bit section of the show. At CES 2022, this year, PlayStation released specs for the next generation of their VR headset, simply named PlayStation VR2. The PSVR 2 specs are as follows. The display is OLED. Panel resolution is 2000 by 2040 per eye. Panel refresh rate is 90 hertz to 120 hertz. Lens separation is adjustable. Field of view is approximately 110 degrees. There will be motion sensors, 6-axis motion sensing system, 3-axis gyroscope, 3-axis accelerometer. There'll be 4 cameras for headset and controller tracking, IR camera for eye tracking per eye. There will be vibration on headset, which blew my mind. USB-C Type-C. That is only one cord to connect to your PS5. There'll be built-in microphone and then an output for stereo headphone jack. Along with the announcement of the new console peripheral, Sony also announced that Gorilla, along with the newly acquired studio Firesprite, will be releasing a new entry into the Horizon series, exclusive to the PlayStation VR platform, as far as what we know. Named Horizon Call of the Mountain. The headset itself was not shown off, nor was a release date mentioned. Adam, I'm going to throw it to you first. We had this. I didn't see the video. I just read up on it and everything like that. I didn't even know CS was even happening. Some cool things have been popping up on Twitter and TikTok everywhere that I've seen bits and pieces of it, which is cool. I like CES as an idea. I never watch any of the stuff. But if I ever got invited, I mean, boys, hit me up. I'll go. But Adam, with the release of these specs for the PSVR 2, we still don't even know what it looks like. Do you have any hopes as to what this VR headset can do within the market of VR? Do you think Sony has a leg in this market? Do you feel like this is good news? What are your thoughts?
I'm pretty out of my depth in terms of VR. I've never even used VR.
Wow, really? Okay.
If I'm being honest, I mean, first of all, nowhere in the specs here does it talk about if it can run Doom or not. And I think, that's generally like the first question you have to ask with any new hardware.
Can it run Doom?
I mean, I don't know anything about field of view either, so maybe that's more of a awesome. Maybe you can weigh in on if that's a good field of view or not. But most of these numbers look good. OLED sounds good.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I think it is exciting that PlayStation is continuing to commit to the VR space. I mean, just because I know that
Yes.
there are people making very important, very cool games for VR, and
Yes.
we'd like that to continue. I guess we'll have to see. I'm interested in Call of the Mountain. Whether it'll be, I guess it's hard for me. Maybe skeptical on whether it would be like a meaningful experience or whether I would find it to be a meaningful
Mm,
experience.
interesting.
Hmm.
Um, but maybe they have a really good idea for what to do there, and maybe it would be awesome. But I don't know. It's hard to know, but I am excited that they are committing to it at least.
Totally. Austin, when you see these specs, I don't know if you had a chance to. I don't know if you saw this when it first got announced. I know the moment it
Hmm.
hit, I sent it to our Slack so everyone can check it out. Do these specs do they ring something to you? Does the idea of PlayStation still committing to VR in this field where it feels like Oculus is at the very top? We know we have
Hmm.
Vive, which is a very expensive option, and then we have PlayStation, which is the only console manufacturer that's actually trying to get into the space, other
Right.
than Nintendo Labo. But let's not play any games here. Let's not pretend they're trying to get into it. All right. So,
Oh
what are your
Yeah,
thoughts
yeah.
on this?
let's not play games.
No
Yeah.
pun intended.
I yeah, so like I have had some, like my friend hasn't the Oculus 2, or I don't know what it's called, but like kind of like the latest one.
Yeah.
And I've been on his a couple times. My friend also has one with the PC, and so I've had some experience with like VR headsets and stuff like that, and I mean, they're really cool, and they always
Oh
work
yeah.
really well. And it is a super cool experience, like putting the headset on. Very intuitive, like already. So looking at these specs, like I don't have like the other headsets. I don't have the other specs, out for the other ones. So I don't know exactly how they compare, but
Yeah.
90 hertz, 120 hertz. That's a really good refresher rate. I mean, that's like, what people are at on PCs, and like the flagship consoles are now going 120 hertz, I believe. OLED display, 110 degrees. That's like the exact. So on Halo and Infinite, you can like adjust, and a lot of other games, you can adjust your FOV.
Yeah.
Mine is exactly at 110, so it's just
Oh
funny.
sweet.
Yeah, I like a higher FOV. It looks like it gives you the effect of you moving faster, and you can see more around you. Um,
Man,
and
you were crazy, dude,
whenever
for that one, dude.
I,
Holy
I know,
moly.
I like 100. I like it pretty high. And yeah, but I'm excited for it. Again, like it's just kind of how I've always sort of felt about VR, is like it's a really cool concept. It works really well. There just isn't a whole lot out for it right now. I mean, there's a couple key games that I think a lot of people have, and I gotta say, like a lot of my TikTok is becoming VR TikTok. uh, there's like this specific, y'all might have her on your free page, but she has like a full haptic. She has a haptic vest, and like the full headset, and like all sorts of sensory gear.
No, no,
And
I didn't know that.
she plays mostly like Skyrim, and she has the shouts voice activated.
Nice.
And so
Nice.
she'll like, but the way she says the shouts is so funny. She'll be like, "Vus Fruda, Islamis." It's so funny. I forgot her name, but like, oh, she's hilarious. But anyways, like, so VR is really cool. It's just not. I don't. There a whole lot of people aren't creating games for it. They're mostly modding like PC games. I feel like there's a Red Dead VR. That's like a modded version of Red Dead Redemption, where it's
Right.
VR. There's Skyrim. There's some cool games. So I mean, I think it's gonna grow. It's gonna get bigger. I don't know. It's just sort of how I felt about the Wii, though. It's like how much you want to move when you're playing a game. How much
Yeah.
you want to move around, how much you want your full body to be involved in a game. I think it's really fun, like for very specific types of games. But like long term, I'd just be interested to see like how far it goes. I think the good thing about VR though is that it's not just used for gaming; it's going to be used for businesses, meetings, being in the metaverse and all of that. So
Yeah.
I definitely think that the concept of VR itself is probably going to, it's much broader, so
Right.
there's going to be a lot of different things you can do with it. So the fact that PlayStation's bringing it in is really, really cool. I don't really know, like, so when you have the PlayStation VR, you're only able to play PlayStation VR games? Is that correct? And like,
You can only,
if that is
yeah,
correct, how many PlayStation VR games exist right now?
there is a good amount. I think so. As of right now, I don't think there's necessarily a lot of first party VR
Mm-hmm.
games yet. I know that there's a lot of third parties making a lot of VR games that are being cross populated amongst either
Okay,
Quest, amongst PlayStation, amongst Steam, that kind of thing.
cool,
Um, my thoughts on all this.
cool.
This is all very, very interesting stuff. I'm looking at the Quest 2 specs right now. The resolution on the Quest 2 is 1832 by 1920 per eye. And if I'm not mistaken, I've been checking it just to make sure. It's supposedly 89 degrees in regards to the headset. Now, the Quest 2 is also going on sale for 128 gigabytes. That is $299. Okay. That is the literal most accessible headset on the market, if I'm not mistaken. And correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, guys. But that is the one that everyone is going for. You do not need to connect it to anything. You don't need to connect it to a computer. You would literally put it on, you're good to go.
Yeah.
PlayStation, I think, I love the fact that they're sticking with VR. Only reason why is because we've seen them abandon handhelds, which I fingers crossed, I hope they come back because they were so good at
Yeah.
it. Um,
Uh-huh.
and so the fact that they're hanging on with VR, it's because they believe in it. But there was something that they did wrong in the previous generation. There wasn't enough first party games to support it. And again, there wasn't much first party VR stuff going around at all. There was
Mm-hmm.
one player in the game that really changed it, and that was Steam. Steam completely changed the game when they came out with Half-Life Alyx, and that was the absolute best game for VR at the moment. I haven't played it. I'm going based off of what everybody has said. I did own the original PlayStation VR for a good while. I played a lot of games off of it, different varieties on the system as well. I sold it. Why? Because putting that thing together every single time I wanted to play it was literally a hassle. I have to put it away every single time because the cords will be jumbled up everywhere. You have to. It was just a mess. The fact that this console only needs one cord, I wish it was none, but one, I can do it. That is easy. That means I can literally
Mm-hmm.
sit the headset on a shelf. When I want to bring it out, I just pull one cord out. I'm good to go. The 2000 by
Yeah.
2040 per eye, that is some great resolution on that. 110 degrees, that has to do in regards to your field of view. So I know when I played on, I'm trying to think of what games in particular. I know I played the one that is inspired by, I forgot the name of the developer, but it was like a haunted mansion game, and you would go and you shoot things. It was, it was a scary, you know, on the rail shooter. That's what it was. And so
Mm.
Yeah.
the field of view, if I'm not mistaken, like I was able to see the borders of the game, if I'm not mistaken. The
Mm-hmm.
better the field of view, the more where if you just keep your head still and you look with your eyes, you want to look always at the game. Does that make sense? Like you don't ever want to be looking at a black border because that takes you out of the immersion of the game. 110
Right.
degrees, that is a lot, dude. That is a good
Yeah.
amount. And they have a spec that kind of shows it going all over your face to like almost the sides right here to where it's practically your entire field of view.
Yeah.
The fact that there's a
I have
vibration
a
in the
fun
headset.
tidbit.
Oh, go for it.
I
Go
have a
for it.
fun tidbit. I just Googled the FOV for the human eye is about 135.
Okay.
Fun fact. So
Thank
that's
you.
what we're
Thank you.
seeing in regular times. So that's just even closer to human
Us in
FOV,
here with
which
the
is pretty
deep
cool.
cuts. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Anyways,
that.
sorry to interrupt. Just had to get that
No,
tidbit
you're
in there
good.
while we're on the topic.
I appreciate it. Vibration is on the headset, which is awesome. That adds a level of immersion into the gameplay Don't know what that feels like. If that relates to Call of the Mountain, like let's say you, I, they need to not do an on the rails kind of thing. It needs to be something that you can move around in. It has to be.
It looked like it was on the rails, man.
Don't say that,
I
Adam.
know.
It
Don't
There's
say
looked
only
that.
a
like
few
it
seconds.
put you in a boat.
It was
Listen,
just a
You're
few
on
seconds.
a boat down the river. That's going to be on rails.
There's joysticks on the controllers. I feel like you can move. I feel like you can move with the joystick.
You got to do something.
At your
I feel
own
like
leisure.
you got to do something.
If it's on the rails, I'm gonna scream. I'm so tired of it.
I would be upset.
That's why I'm like, will it be a meaningful experience? Because if something like Horizon, which is all about exploration, and especially the new one, there's going to be so much more with verticality and jumping around, then going on rails after that's like, okay, you just like took like Horizon as a universe and kind of like took away the biggest like important part of it, but you're still going to play as Aloy. You're just going to be stuck in a boat, and then you're going to be, I'm sure the bow and arrow gameplay will feel really good, but
That'll be
it'll
cool.
be like it'll be a really weird experience to, I don't know, play it like that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Adam, I think you're right. I hope that's not what they do. I hope that PlayStation looked at what Steam, what's the company behind Steam? I forget
Valve.
the name. Valve, thank you.
Valve.
I hope they looked at what Valve did with Alex and be like, we got to do that. There's no other way that we can't go about this. And if anything, I hope that they know that's what they need to do. And Call of the Mountain was in production while that game was released. And they're like, okay, the next thing that we do first party has to be something like Alex. If anything, fingers crossed. But I love the fact that, what if you're in this, boat and I forgot one of the dinosaurs just flies by. You can feel the wind hit like the vibration on the headset. If it can be haptic and go across, that's awesome.
That'd be cool.
Like that is a level that I would love to see, and that makes me already excited and make me like smile because that'd be awesome. I love the fact that the headset itself has cameras on it, so that way no longer do I need to put like a camera on top of my TV to read the stupid light balls on my motion controller. That's no more. Thank God. That was so dumb. It never worked. I mean, it worked, but the amount of times I'll be out of frame and it just completely ruined my experience was all the time. So with all that being said, I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to this. I want to know what this thing looks like. I want to know how much it costs because the thing is the PS5 is already expensive.
And hard to get.
If this thing costs as much as the PS5 does, ooh, man, I got to be doing a lot of chores around this home to get
Surely
one.
not. How much did you say the Quest was?
It's $299, but that's at 128 gigabytes because it holds storage within the headset itself.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it coming in at 300.
Me too.
But Adam, this one has literally controllers like haptic feedback on it. Adam, this is probably $400.
Well, I have a question. So this thing has to be attached to a PlayStation 5. It's a peripheral, right? It is not independent.
Correct. That's exactly the reason why it's a little. But that's why PlayStation is totally setting themselves up to be like the premium console. Like, you see Xbox is doing Game Pass subscriptions and games upon games upon games a part of your subscription. PlayStation, they're like, hey, we're the premium one, guys. And I gotta respect it. They want to keep on that lane, continue being that lane. That's fine. They know what they're doing. They gotta know what they're doing, And so either or, it's exciting that Gorilla and Firesprite are working together on this. I know Firesprite has been helping Gorilla out with Forbidden West for a while now because they said that when they announced the studio acquisition. And so I'm excited to see them continue to work together. It kind of shows what Firesprite can actually do to see that they're able to work on such a AAA game. And we'll get into Horizon in a little bit, guys. But, they're doing some magical stuff. So before we leave SideQuest, do you guys have anything else you want to add in regards to the PSVR 2? Sweet. All right, let's get right into the main quest of the show. We're going to be talking about the games that we've been playing, guys. It's been a while since we've done one of these. And I feel like after being gone from the holidays, having time to sit down and play, I want to jump in and let's all talk about what we've been playing. And I'm going to start off by giving it to Austin. I want Austin to start us off. And what's funny about all this is that I know when we The last episode when we finished, Austin was like, "Hey guys, I'm going on a break. You guys want to jump onto Halo? Let's do it." I completely played so much other stuff that did not pertain to this console that I was like, I
Yeah.
completely missed out on playing Halo with Austin. But
Yeah,
Austin, start us
all
off
good.
with the first game that you played that you want to talk about.
Absolutely. So I think I should preface everything by saying like where I'm at currently with consoles. So
Sweet, sweet.
I borrowed my brother's Xbox because he was in Europe, and I was like, okay, I'll take it. Like, you're gonna be gone for months. It'd be nice to have a console in the living room. And I'd been playing on Stadia for a long time, doing that, and PC a little bit as well. So the PC, first of all, my PC is just a little bit outdated. I think the GPU is sort of on its last leg. I think it's over 5 years old. Not on its last leg. It just can't really play the up to date games well.
Yeah.
So the PC is a little bit out of the picture now. So obviously consoles are really hard to come by, and PC parts are hard to come by. And I also was wanting to sort of transition my gaming life from here in our home office to the living room, because like I work from home, so I was really wanting to just separate that.
Totally.
And I'm not a hardcore specs guy. I'm not a hardcore professional gamer. So I was like, I don't really need the horsepower that like a gaming PC provides. So I was sort of looking out for potentially, for new console. So I borrowed my brother's, and I was like, oh man, this is so nice. Like gaming on hardware that like works really well, and there's no stutters. And plus Halo is coming out in like a few weeks. So I was like, this is perfect timing. So I got the Game Pass, and I've been loving it. I been playing Halo since day one. I played the multiplayer beta. I've been loving it. I really like Halo Infinite. I could go on for a while on like what I don't really like and what I do like. But so anyways, Christmas comes around. My brother ends up coming home early from COVID. So I give him back the Xbox. And immediately when I get back home to Denton, I buy an Xbox One Series S.
Let's go,
which
dude.
just so happens to be the only console that is, it's always been on the rack. It's always been in stores. I got really nervous because I bought it. I ordered it on Walmart to pick it up. And then I showed up and it was like, oh, your order is canceled because there's none in stock. And this is like December 28th or 9th. And I was like, oh my God, no, please don't do this to me. And then I went to Target. There was like 3 at Target.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I'll take that. So I'll take that Xbox. And so I love it. It's super small, super compact, and it's just like perfect for like what I wanted. And I've always been an Xbox person. I've always loved the games and stuff. So anyways, there's the backstory. So now I'm pretty much 100% Microsoft Xbox guy, and I love it.
Let's go.
That's where I've moved to. And so yeah, Halo Infinite's been one I've been playing a lot, and I love that they sort of went back to a lot of the core mechanics of the original, like 1, 2, 3 Halo Reach. They've sort of stripped it down to a little more bare bones combat and stuff like that, which is what I really loved. There's not you can't camp, there's not really an OP thing to use. It's really well just built, the multiplayer is. So I've really been enjoying that. Of course, the drawback, which you've probably heard from a lot of people, is the progression and all of the awards and the cosmetics and everything like that. There's not a lot. And working through your battle pass, they've made a lot of improvements already, and it's gotten so much better. Like you're able to move through a lot quicker, which is really great. So honestly, that's not a complaint with me anymore. But there's like a couple of buggy things, like the melee can be a little inconsistent.
Yes.
In Halo, sometimes when you melee and you're in line with someone, you will kind of zip up to them a little bit. Sometimes that just doesn't happen. Like some people
die.
And then you die. Because the recipe to successful Halo battle is grenade, shoot, melee, or some sort of combination of those.
Yeah.
Some people have been complaining about the grenades, that they're inconsistent and stuff like that. So like there's some small things, but I mean, overall, I think it's a really great game. Really happy with it. I played through the campaign, which I enjoyed. Like I really thought, I was really worried, right, about this sort of quasi open world concept for Halo. Because some people were comparing it to Far Cry, and that game never really grabbed me. But I thought Halo did a really good job with it. But it seemed a little bit cut short. It seemed a little bit limited, the campaign, to be honest. Like, there were some good moments, but I wanted it to keep going. I wanted different environments as well. Zeta Halo kind of got a little bit repetitive.
Okay.
It mostly looks, it's mountainous. It kind of is like Blood Gulch forever. I mean, like, there's some more mountainous parts and stuff like that, but I'm like, give me a jungle place, or like give me a snowy place, or give me, a beach place. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I don't know what their plans are for like DLC and stuff like that, but I hope that there is DLC, and I hope that they continue to expand upon it. But there were so many hints in the campaign for future story stuff, so I'm excited to see what they're going to do with that.
That was going to be my next question to you, is in regards to the ending, without spoiling it, do you feel like they have a future set for what they want to do with Halo?
Yeah, absolutely. So like, I think this story was somewhat of like a reset, I think.
Okay.
Like, it was a lot of just kind of setting up and developing. I mean, there was a story with like a final boss and everything, but like, it was like, this is only the beginning. So I felt the same way after Dune. Like, okay, like we got a good story. It set up a lot, and like set up some new characters that I really liked. So I think that's how the end of Infinite felt. It was like, okay, like that was a really good kind of prequel or pre-story, but like now I'm really ready to get into like the meat of everything, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, it was exciting, but I don't know. I wish it was just like a little bit longer. I was like, that's it.
Yeah. Everything that you stated, I've heard everyone else say. So you're totally in line with what everyone else has been saying.
But man, it's so good. I love the music and the weapons and stuff. It was a great time. For Halo fans. It's good.
Sweet. Adam, want to kick it up to? Oh, what's up?
Oh yeah, I was actually gonna ask Rob if you played any of it at all.
No, not yet. So multiplayer, I will just add real fast. Multiplayer is bomb as heck. I love it. It's fun. I haven't played it in over a month. I'm not even kidding. Over a month. Just because I've been digging into some other stuff, what I'll get to in the later, which pertain to other things I've been doing. I've not even tried the campaign yet. I haven't jumped into it. It's not the fact that it's not grabbing me. It's just my attention has just been on some other things that I haven't been able to. But it's like, it's one of those things where, and it's so. I wish I could make like an entire big topic about this idea, but just to make it so short. When you have so many options, it kind of lessens the value of those things. And so I feel like instead of me having to go out of my way to go buy Horizon Forbidden West and play it, because I'm like, oh, I bought it, I gotta play it now. It's almost like, oh, this is a subscription service and there's 100 other things, and every week there's something new. And the moment that Infinite comes out, then if I don't get to it that week, the next week there's another thing on the subscription service that grabs my eye, and I'm like, now weeks are piling upon each other. I'm like, I'm never gonna get to it. And so, but without going further into that, that's how I've been feeling about Halo. Adam, let's start with one game that you've been playing, my man.
Sure. First I'll answer Austin's question though. I have not turned my OG Xbox One on.
The OG, the black one
in months. Yes, the big black boxy one that still has like the TV cable in port on the back next to the TV out port. So no Halo for me at the moment. I will say, because it's been so long since we've talked about games we're playing, I've like Death's Door has come for me, and I've like fully completed it, and now it's been like weeks since I've played it and since I finished it. But it was a game I was looking forward to for so much of last year.
Yeah.
I held on when I saw it was Xbox exclusive. I'm like, I'm just gonna wait. till
You
it
were.
hits.
Yeah.
Surely it's a like a launch window exclusive, and luckily it was only like 3 month window.
Yep.
Came to Switch. I think was it November, December, something like that. November, I
Yeah.
Mm,
think.
Yeah. November.
Um, or yeah, and I loved it. It was great. It's a really,
nice.
really good game. There's just so many good things about it. It's not quite like the revolutionary like indie game that like Celeste or Hollow Knight is, but it's a really good game.
Nice.
It's really, really good. It's not too long. It's not too like ambitious in its scope. Like it doesn't
Okay.
do more than it can handle, in my opinion. And it's just a really good Zelda-like, kind of top-down isometric combat is really, really good. And it's a very, very interesting world, art style. Some very cool dark humor to it, and it's a great game. Um,
Nice.
I can't say enough good things
Cool.
about it. So
That's awesome, dude. I've been
Sweet.
hearing great things about that game. Was it difficult? Because I know it's always been um compared to like Dark Soulsy kind of thing. Like it beat Tunic, and it kind of came out around the time of Hades and things like that. So, do you feel like it's super difficult, or do you think it just held up on his own?
it's a challenge. I'm trying to remember if there's actually difficulty settings to it or not, but um I mean there are challenging moments to it. I think the like final boss of like the main story is a little bit obnoxious in how it's difficult because it kind of asks you to go through a lot of jump a lot of hurdles without any checkpoints in a way. But everything's fair. Like just like any good Souls like game, it's like anytime you die, you learn something. You're like, okay, don't do this, or be more respectful of this enemy's attack, or okay, that's the animation I need to look for. And so everything is fair, which is any good Souls like combat. The big thing is it being fair and learning from your deaths, and Death's Door definitely does that. So I don't think it's too difficult. Um, yeah, definitely not. I think, I've been playing Returnal. Returnal is way more difficult in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
Sweet, sweet. I
Nice.
love one of the features that was going around on social media was that when you go up to signs, you can read them, and
yeah,
if you hit your sword on the sign, cuts the sign in half, and then if you go back to read it, it's the same thing but just in half. That's awesome. I love small little touches like that.
I love
That's
yeah,
that.
so. I love those creative
yeah,
touches. That's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah. It's really
Um,
good.
Getting into what I've been playing, there's a game that came out earlier last year called Loop Hero. It was a Steam exclusive, published by Devolver Digital, developed by Four Quarters, and it kind of took Twitch by storm. It was one of those
Hmm.
games that there's something about it just grabbed my attention, but I don't have a computer that I don't like. I don't even know if it can run on my MacBook. Like it just. I just had no way to play it. And so when I saw that it came out on Switch, I don't know why, but I was like, let's just try it. Let's just
Hmm.
jump in and let's give it a try. And out of the four games that I have written down, it is the game that I have played the absolute most. It is one
Hmm.
of those games that I have fallen in love with. It is so weird that I love this game that much. The story is it's simple. Something happens. You're this knight. The world as you know it has fallen and has kind of dissolved, and it's rebuilding itself up in these dimensions that this one being that's a skeleton with the staff is like trying to destroy. And you're just this
Hmm.
one knight that constantly goes in this loop of fighting enemies. And the way that it works is it like you don't have to physically do anything. All you do is you manage as the character automatically does this thing. And you can do the settings, you can stop it. You can have your character stop after each battle, or you can continue
Hmm.
and stop after the beginning of each loop. Like you can do different things, but you set up these different cards that is like the meadows, the rocks, a mountain, a grove, a cemetery, vampire's mansion, all these
Hmm.
different things. You set these things up. They either build you resources, they call upon enemies, they give you new weapons, new armor, new rings that have different effects for either speed of attack, evasion, vampirism, which is like you can leech off of their life when you attack them to regain your health,
Mm,
defense. You can have different traits, fill your entire hand with oblivion cards. And when you use the
mm,
oblivion cards, you add 100 HP to your health. Like all these different things are affecting the game. But like I have it set up to where I don't I haven't picked my Switch up at all the entirety of last year until I
mm,
got that game. And
Mm.
it's the perfect game for me to like sit down right next to Vanessa while she's watching TV. I'm right there and I can literally watch TV and just hold the Switch in my hand and just kind of glance at it because it kind of does what it needs to on its own and stop it when I'm
mm,
like, oh, okay, let me manage some of my resources real quick. Place this here, place this here. Let's equip
Mhm.
this piece of armor, this piece of thing, or whatever. All right, cool. Let's continue. And then I just, kind
nice.
of glance at it. And it's the perfect game to just you don't need to be fully like I don't need to be moving my fingers all the time, reacting constantly right off the bat. Like it's just a
Mm,
comfortable game. And I don't know
yeah.
why. It's very much so a PC game because there's a cursor that you kind of move around a bit across the screen that can be a little
Mm,
annoying at times, not all the time. It's literally the smallest gripe I have with the entire thing. But
mm-hmm,
it works so well on the Switch, in my opinion, and I'm starting to open up new things. I can start crafting certain items that affect my stats when I go back out into the loop, or I can build up my village to gain access to these new resources or whatnot. And I found
mm,
out if you put these certain resources of cards together in certain ways, it can build a bigger thing that can allow for more resources. And so, like, you build these rocks around these mountains, and then it'll pop up an entirety of like an encampment of whatever. Like, I'm trying my best not to go online and look up anything because I want to discover
yeah.
Mhm.
everything on my own. And it's
Right.
difficult at
Mhm.
times, and sometimes it feels a little too samey, but I've been enjoying the heck out of this game, dude. It blows
That's
my mind
awesome.
that Loop Hero is just like grabbed my attention. So anyone out
Mm.
there who hasn't played it, it's on Switch, it's on Steam. Check out Loop Hero. It is really, really good. I love it. Austin, what's
Sold.
the next game you want to talk about?
Okay. Okay, I really want to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Let's go, dude.
I was not expecting it. So like I was my interest was piqued because I was hearing a little bit of buzz about it. IGN gave it a great review. Initially I was like, is this game just like Avengers with a Guardians of the Galaxy skin? Like, is it how good
Yeah.
is it going to be? Then it got good reviews, and then it won best narrative at the VGAs.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh my gosh, okay. So
Yeah.
I got the game. I spent $60. I mean, I got Christmas
That's
money
awesome.
and I bought it. But
Hey.
I was like, I know what I'm using this. It was literally my friend gave me a gift card, an Xbox gift card, and I was like, I know exactly what I'm doing with
Sweet.
it. So
Sweet.
I bought the game, and I loved it. I mean, it
Wow.
was like all I played. It was like a book you couldn't put down. The story
Yeah.
Mhm.
was really good. Gosh, the dialogue was just so good and so funny. Like,
Wow.
it's really clever. Like their humor is just like what you know in the movies. Like,
Yeah.
it, Thrax is like Drax.
Drax.
Drax. Drax has been like he's my favorite of the four. And so like getting to hear just a continuation of that type of humor, it just kills me. And I honestly, the more I play the game, and this might just be because like it's a video game, you're gonna spend way more hours with these characters than like the ones you do on the big screen. But
Right.
like
Totally.
I like this team more than the
Wow.
MCU Guardians. Like
Wow.
they were just like Gamora doesn't take herself as serious. Like she's a little but she's still really fierce and like the deadliest
Yeah.
assassin in the galaxy. But like I think it's because like I guess with this group, like they've been together longer than the MCU's Guardians, so their guard is down a little bit more. And I really like the Peter Quill in this game. I really
Okay.
liked his story. His backstory was like a little bit different. Like his mother his mother died when he was a little bit older, so like it was like a
Mm.
lot more it was very traumatic, and also like aliens invaded, and like that's what happened. But spoilers. Anyways, but I just spoiled the game. Not really, but it's a really great story. Really enjoyed it. The fighting, the combat is really fun.
Okay.
It takes a little bit to get used to. So you're playing as Peter Quill the entire time, and the teammates are sort of like you're controlling them in a way. So you have all sorts of commands for each and every one of them, and the controls behind activating those commands they are intuitive, and you get kind of used to like different combinations that do different things with different characters. And so that became really fun, like, and just of course a progression where you unlock new abilities and stuff like that. But yeah, just an all around, like, just a really great game, great story, emotional, like there's some really emotional parts of the story, and it's done really well. So I would highly recommend, if you want to break from big multiplayer battle pass type games and you really just want to play a good story game, like that was it was a great sort of palate cleanser to play a game like that. So
That's awesome.
Yes, loved Guardians, loved it.
That's awesome. I know when the Game Awards happened, we were all like, "What?"
I know,
like
it's
Galaxy
weird.
won Best Story, and so that's awesome that you actually really enjoyed it. And how does it end?
Yeah.
I know I asked this question with Halo, but how does it end? Do you feel like there's a continuation to it? Like, no, I mean, don't spoil that. But do you think it's gonna
spoil it?
Do you think it's gonna continue onward?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, interesting.
They could. I mean, it's like, I mean, it ends. I mean, like you finish the story. The objective is pretty much, it's complete and everything, and so they could if they wanted to. But I don't know. I don't really see the need to. I kind of just want them to just leave it at that. This is Square Enix's. This is the story they wanted to tell with the Guardians, and I think it's a great story. They could just easily leave it at that.
Okay.
So yeah, but if they wanted to just have a whole other thing happen, new threat to the galaxy, they totally could. So I don't know.
But great soundtrack, right?
Great soundtrack. Oh my gosh. Yes. The soundtrack, just like the movie, really awesome hits. It's always the environment. So like when you're not going through a mission, like you're chilling in the ship, and like I love the detail. You can go into each of your different bedrooms and like see how everyone's bedroom is like decorated, and like you can change the songs and like just hang out and talk to the different, team members. It's really fun. So yeah,
Sweet.
It's a great environment to be in.
Yeah. I will say I haven't played it yet, but I always got to point out when the studio or publisher knocks it out the park with some very, very sweet reversible cover.
Oh, nice, dude. That's actually pretty sick.
Just for our video listeners, they do write by the game collectors, and they put the title on the spine still for the reversible cover. But then, of course, that's sweet.
It is a beautiful game. It is a beautiful game. Like, there's some really cool parts, lots of cool slow-mo shots. It's a good-looking game. That's awesome, dude. That looks awesome.
My last question for you, Austin, is obviously don't like answer it necessarily, but was there some deep Marvel character cuts? Like, was there someone that popped up and you're like, oh wow, I didn't expect this person to be in this game?
Yeah, I can think of one character, and like there's probably more. I just don't know Marvel super well. You'd probably catch more than me, but like there was one character where I was like, oh, I know, I've definitely heard him, and he's even a character that's like, he's a character that I think is going to show up in the MCU at some point.
I know who you're talking about now.
But he was in there, and it was like, oh my gosh, that's cool.
Sweet.
So yeah,
all right. Adam with the perplexed face, you're not as cool as we are. Sorry, it's all right. Adam, what do you want to talk about next?
I actually want to talk about Paper Mario next. So as we've discussed, Nintendo Switch Online had their N64 Genesis expansion pass, which Rob and I have bought into, and the original Paper Mario dropped for the service on like December 10th or something like that. So I've never played the original because I didn't have an N64, but Thousand Year Door, which is on GameCube, is a phenomenal game that I love dearly and can't replay because my disc is broken.
Mm.
So I was like, let's play this original. And it is so good. It misses, obviously, Thousand Year Door improves on it with some really clever paper mechanics that are just missing from the first game. But the first game stands on its own, fantastic. I'm not a huge turn-based guy, especially when it's not like a tactical turn-based. But Paper Mario is just so fun to play for me. They have you do like action commands during the combat, so you still have to like time button presses at certain points to like increase your damage or reduce damage. And then your party is such a good, I think, kind of like mix of personalities and abilities, and it just makes the game so fun to play. Like for me, it's top tier turn based combat, and I'm sad that after Thousand Year Door they just stopped doing that combat. So
Mm. Yeah.
it's been really fun to return to and play that in
Awesome.
that universe. So
Paper Mario. That's awesome. I remember Paper Mario was on the N64 inside my local McDonald's. Good times.
nice.
That is
Remember
a
those?
deep
Very
cut,
nice.
dude. That is a deep cut.
That's deep, but that's what I remember. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
It
I have a
is.
question. I have a question about the N64, like the service on Switch. So
Mhm.
is it cloud gaming? Like it's cloud,
No,
or are you
it's
downloading these?
downloaded. Yeah,
Oh,
you
okay,
download
cool.
it. Yeah, you have to
Yeah,
let's see. You have to check in online,
yeah,
pretty frequently just to make sure that your service is still valid and they'll let you play the games. So,
yeah,
Okay.
but other than
yeah.
that, you
That's
do
fair.
download it and you do play them. And then of course you
And
get like little save states to use. So,
any other like massive titles out right now on the service? Like, do they have the Zelda games? Like, which
they
ones do they have?
have. Oh, I haven't looked at the full library. I know they have Ocarina of
Yes.
Time. I know
Okay,
they have
sweet,
Star Fox.
nice.
I've never touched it.
They have Mario Kart. I don't remember what
We
else they
got it.
have.
I've never even tried it. I haven't even touched
I
that part.
I've seen a lot of people complain about the emulation.
Mhm.
It's not very noticeable with Paper Mario, which for the most part isn't very, it's very forgiving in terms of like lag because, it's turn based. But there are a few times where it was like harder to time the action command than I thought it should be,
Yeah.
but not so much that the game wasn't enjoyable. I actually had one boss fight, just one, no other part of the game, one boss fight where there was a slowdown and so dropped frames and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
that was really
Really?
tough to get through. And I missed
Dang.
almost every single action command on that one. But it
That's
was just that
rough,
one
dude.
boss fight.
That's rough.
And that was it.
Huh.
So most overall, it worked pretty well for that game, at least.
Okay. Okay.
Cool.
Next for me, I'm gonna be talking real fast because I mean I haven't even gone too deep in this game. It's Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon. I love Yacht Club. Shovel
Hmm.
Knight is an awesome character. I'm actually planning on going back and replaying Shovel Knight as a whole. But Pocket Dungeon came out recently. I wanted to try it out. It is one of those like match 3 kind of games where it's blocks are dropping down. You have to match them in a way. It's way more difficult than that. This game
Hmm.
is really difficult for me. I'm having trouble even getting past 3 stages. Like you do one of these stages, you go to the next one, then you just continue progressing. I have been able to do barely anything just because of the fact that I it's timed. So obviously things are
Yeah.
dropping. You have to like the way it works is you as Shovel Knight are attacking these pieces. Like let's say it's an ant. You attack the ants and they have the ability to attack back. So you have health on top of all that. So you
Mhm.
attack back, they can attack you back. If they're a bunch of them clumped together, then you get multipliers and then you can attack
Mhm.
skeletons. And so the more you keep continuing, the harder it gets in regards to the way you have to attack these creatures or these
Hmm.
like one of them are knights. So if you attack them from the right, then you can't attack them anymore. So you have to go around and attack them from above or below, but there could be a block below them, so that takes up time. It just is a very difficult game. I want to play it really bad, but I feel like I'm not going to be able to continue on much longer. You can adjust the settings to where you can add more
Yeah.
hearts and lives and make things a little easier for yourself. And I gave in and I finally did that. I've never made things easier for myself on games, not because of any particular reason, just because I try to play it the way that they intended for me to play it.
Hmm.
But I got to a point where I added 5 lives and still I was just getting my butt whooped with it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Can't you turn off the timer part of it? I know that really has. I may be wrong, but I think I remember someone talking about turning off the timer, and it just completely changed the game for them in such a positive way.
Hmm.
That's interesting. I might need to look into that because
Yeah.
in my mind, I don't think it's not the matter of there being a timer. It's the fact that the speed as to which things are falling and me having to break as many blocks as possible. And that's what happens to me at times is when you die, you you die and then there's like 3 beats and then you pop back up. But within those 3 beats, things are still falling. So
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
doesn't necessarily help me. It's making things a little bit more difficult because now I need to start clearing things up even faster. And so again, I've been separating my time between Loop Hero, Pocket Dungeon, and then the next game I'll talk about later. But it just, man, it is really difficult. It is a very difficult game. So
Yeah.
hopefully I can get back into it and adjust some of the settings a bit more. But until then, Yacht Club, y'all made it a very difficult game.
Hmm.
Stop making this. Make Shovel Knight 2, please. I want to see a 16-bit. I need
Please.
to see a
Or
16-bit Shovel Knight, please.
or a new IP. New IP is fine
All
too.
right, or new,
True.
or new, maybe new.
Yeah.
Austin, what do you want to talk about next?
I'm gonna combine my last two into one
Sweet.
because I don't have a whole lot to say about either. But so I started a Sekiro, and so like really cool game. Like I love the combat, love the gore. I mean, like it's all very
It's
cool.
sweet, dude.
It's a sweet game. I really enjoy. I like the character. Yeah, it's just a really cool game. I love sword. I like sword games, video games. Really enjoyed Fallen Order, so kind of
Love.
happy to jump back into that genre. Is very difficult. I'm struggling so hard. There is one
Yeah.
and it's like near the beginning of the game. Like it's like one guy, like it's just like a general.
Hmm.
Oh, on the
And
horse?
No, not on a horse.
Oh, okay. Okay,
No,
before that. Okay. I know what you're talking about.
yeah, it's like pretty early. Like,
Yes.
okay, I mean, it happens at the beginning of the game, but like after you get bested by like the main boss with the massive
Yep.
bow. So like then you go to the shrine or that little village temple area. Literally, like almost right after that, you eventually there's like it's a tutorial part. It's saying like, okay, here you may have to like jump over the heavy attacks. Like the little symbol will pop up above your head. That's when you know like either dodge, roll, jump, or whatever. It's that guy that I can't get past. I even start off with like a surprise blow. I jump on him like Assassin's Creed style, and like that
Yeah.
takes down like an
Mhm.
entire bubble of life or whatever. But like, dude, I don't know what it is. I just gotta memorize. I don't know what I need to do. I just need to keep trying, but it's so
Gotta
hard.
memorize those attack patterns and,
I
and master
know.
your invincibility. Are there invincibility frames in that game, Robert? Do you know?
Adam, I feel like that's
Or
such a deep cut. I don't even know what you're talking about on that, dude.
what?
I
Invincibility frames. It's
Oh.
like when you dodge, and it's like there's a time during your dodge where you're not going to get hit by attack, even if it would like go where your hitbox is. It's like it's
Um,
like classic. Yeah. Sorry, it's like
yes, I know what you're
classic
talking
from
about.
software talk.
Yeah, I
yeah,
believe. Yeah,
yeah,
now that you say it in that way, yeah, I think that is actually a thing. That has
right,
to be.
yeah.
I'm starting to think of certain fights after the guy that Austin will eventually get to, and most definitely that will be happening.
Hopefully, I hope I do.
All I'll say, Austin, is just stick with it. It is one of those games where
Okay.
if you go back to it every once in a while, you will wake up one day and through osmosis, your brain will train your your reflexes that you will somehow just
Oh my
best them.
gosh.
So hopefully
Oh.
that happens.
I hope it
Hopefully.
does too. I just need to keep trying. So, anyways, through my frustration, I was like, I want a chill game. Like, I want a completely different game to play right now. Like, I just need to relax. And so I remembered that I downloaded Horizons 5 Forza, and I'm like, I never play racing games. I like the last car game I played was like Need for Speed Most Wanted or something on the 360 or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And which I loved. I loved that game. But after that, like I just never took interest in any other car games. But
Mm-hmm.
I had heard really good things about this Forza game, and I always heard kind of negative things about the whole franchise, like you just drive in a circle. But this one is like much more cross country. There's a lot more variety in the environment, which is cool. So, anyways, I I booted it up, and I really enjoyed it. You know, you could just drive around, you do races and stuff, and
Dude, how was that
um,
intro? That
it
intro
was
was
sick,
sick.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the intro sequence is really cool. You're like literally dropping out of planes, like in
Yeah.
your car with the pair. It's
Oh,
It's
wow.
wild.
awesome, man.
That's
I
sweet.
love it. But like what I love doing most is like going off roading in my Bronco, my yellow Bronco, and listening to like classical music. I'm like, this is exactly what I want to do IRL. It's just way cheaper.
Yeah.
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 So I enjoyed that. It was a very therapeutic game, and I'll probably play
Mm.
a little bit more. I could see it getting a little bit repetitive. Like, okay, you just win races and drive around. Is that it? So I don't know. We'll see. But I like it so far. It's fun.
Sweet. Sweet. Adam, what would you like to talk about next?
I will talk about Hades next.
Yes. That's gonna
Uh,
be my next game. Yes.
Yeah. Well, speaking of your next game, you just let me know once Sekiro clicks for you, and then I'll start Sekiro, and maybe we can play at the same time.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm playing Hades. So I got a Switch OLED over the holidays.
Oh my gosh.
And dude, it is, first of all, it's phenomenal.
Oh,
Big
man.
upgrade from the launch day Switch. But I'm playing Hades, so I've always been worried about roguelikes. I didn't quite click with Dead Cells, but Hades has me right away. I'll say that. So it is so good. I love the setting. I love the voice acting,
That's awesome, dude.
art style,
nice.
the progression systems. I get really picky with the roguelites I play on how they handle progression and whatnot, and the things that carry over in this game just makes so much sense to me. So I'm really loving it. I'm still pretty early. I've only gotten out of the first area once so far. Um, so obviously being a roguelite, every time you die, you start from the beginning. But
Mm-hmm.
the way that the universe of the game kind of explains it being a roguelite is it's so good. It just
Sweet.
fits into the what's the I guess the lore of the world, and
Yeah.
of course it's based off Greek mythology, so lots of familiar names,
That's
and
awesome.
like their interpretations of them are really cool. So I'm excited to dump a ton of time into it. So
That's awesome, dude. Hades, I mean, I haven't played it yet. I'm hoping to eventually get around to it, but Supergiant Games, they don't play around, dude. They are really, really good at what they do. And Hades obviously took the world by storm, I think, what, in 2019, like close to the
2019.
end, and then it crossed over
Yeah.
into last year and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, Hades has heard a lot of good things about it.
For sure.
Next, I'm going to talk about, and this is my last game that I'll be talking about. It's a Let's throw it back a little bit, guys. Now, if you are in Texas, I highly recommend that you go to this place called Found It Electronics and Games. It is
nice.
in North Texas, and it is literally the best retro game store I have ever been to. It is
Whoa.
awesome. One, the people there are really nice, but the selection of retro games that you have access to, that you can buy, is unbelievable. I thought I knew what a retro game store was based on my local, what I can get locally. This place blows everything out of the water. And Adam,
Hmm.
I know you've been in this area before. Austin, I don't know if you've
Yeah.
ever been to any of the local retro game stores. This place blows all those places out of the water. And
Mm.
So
so,
like compared to Game Exchange on
yes.
what university?
Yes,
Right?
Game Exchange.
Movie Trading Co. out the water. I forgot the name of the one the one that used to be here in our area, but is shut down. I forgot the name of it.
Hastings maybe.
No, that wasn't it.
Hmm.
But anyways, you walk in and you were just welcomed with a glass casing of every single color of N64s that you can imagine that you can buy that are in mint
Whoa.
condition. It is unbelievable. And they start off like at $299. And I
Whoa.
honestly, there's a lot of expensive things there, and it could be a little daunting at times. Like they had an original packet of Pokemon cards that cost $999 there that you can buy.
Oh,
And
my
I gotta
gosh.
respect it. I gotta respect it.
Oh,
They had
totally.
everything there that I could have imagined. They had Vitas there.
Mm-hmm.
I've been looking for Vitas
What?
everywhere, everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and they had them there in working condition, rather that you can buy.
Wow. How
So,
much were
anyways,
they?
honestly, they weren't that bad. I think it started at 169, and
Okay.
Okay.
for a
It's
Vita,
not
dude,
bad.
that's not bad.
Those are rare.
They are rare. They're hard to come by, especially ones that work and that are in good condition. So I recently, thanks to the power of COVID, had to wait a long time and the power of patience, but I eventually got the analog pocket. And it
Mm-hmm.
came in, and I have been, thanks to Adam lending me some of his games, I've been playing Pokemon Crystal a little bit. I had to stop that, but that's another conversation for another day. It just, the nostalgia was so good, but it didn't hold up the
Mm-hmm.
game as a whole. I'll just say that.
Oh
And
no.
That's fair.
I did jump into Final Fantasy Tactics. I'm loving it. It is a really, really good game. The lore of the game is really different than I expected it to be at the very beginning. But to end where this is all leading to, I've been meaning to play Metroid. I personally am making my own game. And so it is heavily influenced by side scrollers, by Metroid, by Interstellar, if that makes any sense. You could put all those pieces together. So I've been really wanting to play a retro Metroid game. So I went to this place and they had Metroid Zero Mission there. I actually
Mhm.
originally went for Fusion, and they had both Fusion
Hmm.
and Zero Mission for like 200 and something dollars in their boxes, still in mint. But I was like, I'm not ready.
Huh.
I don't have that much crypto money. So I was like, what do you guys have? And they're like, well, we have Zero Mission, not in the box, but in still good condition. I was like, sweet. I got enough crypto for that. Let's do it. So I got it.
Oh my god.
And boys, I gotta tell you, it looks amazing on this screen. Like
oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
it is. I know you can barely see it on the video feed, guys. Those who are listening, I'm sorry. But I had this thing playing on the analog display, which brightens up everything. It doesn't look like it did retroly. Like this thing is popping in absolute color. And I have been enjoying every second of this game. Zero Mission is
Wow.
really, really good. I love it. It is the remake of the original one. I have an NES Classic, but I did not want to play the Metroid when it was originally released. It's
Yeah.
old. It's not the same.
It's hard to go back to.
It is really
Yeah.
hard to go back to. And so I would much rather do Super Metroid because that still holds up. But
Mm-hmm.
the original one, no. So I that's why I really wanted to get Zero Mission. And I gotta say, I've been loving every single minute of it. It is very, very fun. It holds up. Man, does it hold up. It is so good.
That's
This thing
awesome.
has a headphone jack in the bottom of it. So I literally been hooking up these headphones to it. And dude,
Nice.
I put the music settings to low impedance mode so that way it can actually have like a bassy feel to it. And I'm just sitting on the couch next to
Oh.
Vanessa being like, I'm like, dude, let's go, man. So
Vibing.
I love it. It is really, really
That
good.
sounds
I've been
awesome.
really enjoying, and the Analog Pocket as a whole. This is a very, very good console. Analog really did a great job, and
Yeah.
I've been enjoying every single bit of this thing. So I love it. I will continue to be looking out for retro games to play on this console alone. So anyone out there has Metal Gear Solid for the Game Boy, let me know because I would like to inquire on that. Without further ado, Adam, do you want to talk about Returnal real quick, or do you want to move on to our last piece?
We can totally move on. I will still have be able to talk about Returnal next time because I'm
Sweet.
still not very far into it. So we can leave that for another day.
Sweet. All right, let's move on to the last bit real quick. And we don't have to spend too much time on this, but I want to talk about what are we looking forward to in the rest of this year, this beautiful, beautiful, refreshing year of 2020. There's a lot going on in regards to gaming. There's so much. And I want to kick it off to Austin first. Austin, if you want to talk about these things one by one, you can. If you want to just kind of join them all together into one, go ahead. What are you looking forward to in regards to the year 2022? Well, I said 2020 earlier. 2022 as a whole for gaming.
Yes. I wish I had more time to think about this because there's just so much. But to condense it down, as the Star Wars fan, well, you know, I'm excited to hear what's next for Star Wars. I'm really excited for Lego Star Wars. It's going to be such a huge game. It's going to be unlike any other Lego game, which I've always loved. And man, I'm just really excited for it. They've delayed it a lot due to COVID, and just, you know, understandable. It's all right. Just take your time. Don't rush it. It's okay. But I'm excited for when it comes. Very excited for that. And any future, any future Star Wars game announcements, I'm here for. Eclipse, beautiful cinematic trailer for Star Wars Eclipse. Hope we see more on that. I hope we see some more info on the newest Jedi game. Yeah. Continuation of Cal Kestis and his motley crew. Would love to see more on that as well. And really anything else, any more Star Wars IP, please just give it to me, please. I touched on this earlier on Halo, but I would love some more content with Infinite. DLC, if possible, for the campaign. Would really love that. And just, you know, more fun stuff in multiplayer, more game modes. I know they're bringing... So going back to campaign, they are confirmed they are bringing co-op into it soon. Yeah. Which will be really cool to bring co-op into that world. You know, you could just goof around the whole time, fly around and do crazy stuff. Excited for that. Excited for Forge in Halo Infinite. I know that was a huge deal. Lots of crazy custom maps. Would love to see that come to Infinite. And I know it is coming this year at some point. So yeah, I would say, like, initially, first thought, like, those are the big things that stick out in my mind as to, like, what I'm excited about.
Sweet. As we continue on, if anyone wants to chime in on any of the things that we have, because there's a lot. Adam, I'm going to talk about mine because I feel like your section can also fit into that as well. This year of 2022 is literally the battle for the first party. It's unbelievable. Like, it is a bloodbath this year. Like, everyone has heavy hitters. In PlayStation, we have Horizon Forbidden West, God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo 7. Xbox has Stalker 2, Starfield, maybe Redfall, maybe Senua's Saga this year. And then Nintendo has Pokemon Legends Arceus. And then we do not know yet in regards to Kerbin and the Forgotten Land, Breath of the Wild 2, Splatoon 3. There is so much happening and so many possibilities happening this year that this is going to be a crazy, crazy year. And so, real quick, I'm touching on some quick things. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Forbidden West, Adam, what is your excitement for that, dude? I am so stoked for this game. The more I look at it, the more I'm like, how is this going to run on a PS4? It blows my mind.
It might not. I don't know.
It'll blow up.
Or it'll be. It's going to use like a classic mode, right? Which is like, it has the kind of like cut to and from cut scenes that Zero Dawn had.
Yeah.
You know, where you just drop resolution so fast.
Bad. Yeah.
On those character models. I don't know. They look to have elevated the traversal and the melee combat so far beyond what it was in Zero Dawn, which were, you know, two of its weaker points in terms of the gameplay loop. Yeah. And I don't know how they made such a huge jump. So it should be phenomenal. I mean, it should be. Hopefully it will be. Like, potentially, I think it has the chance to be better than God of War Ragnarok, depending on how well that game does.
It does.
Just because they had so much room to grow, and everything I've seen is telling me that they nailed it. So
I feel like Forbidden West is gonna ruin Zero Dawn. Like, there's no way you could play this game and then
unplayable.
Go back. Yeah,
it's going to be Mass Effect 2 to Mass Effect. You know, it's that's how it's going to be thought of.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. God of War Ragnarok is also set. Well, we don't have a release date for that yet, do we? Or we have a window?
Just I think it's just 2022.
God
Maybe it's
bless.
holiday 2022. It
God of
could
War
slip.
Ragnarok, Adam, is the possibility for this game. It is not a trilogy; it is only a duology, and I am so excited for what they have in store for this story. I don't even care about the hating about they're reusing the animations of whatnot, blah 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 blah. Like they're not showing us everything.
Whatever.
They're not showing us
The,
everything. I know that for a
the,
fact. So I'm so excited.
yeah. I mean, they could almost change nothing from the first game other than menus
Yeah,
and just nail the story, and it could be a 10 out of 10.
yeah, I
Like
agree. I
they
agree.
they don't
Yeah.
need to do a lot.
I agree. Adam, in regards to other bigger releases, what are things that you're excited for?
Elden Ring, right? So not
Yes.
first party, but that's the other, big elephant in the room I can think
Yeah.
of in terms of big AAA titles coming out. But
Yes.
of course, for me, Triangle Strategy is still
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
maybe
On Switch.
it's high up on my list, man. You're playing through Final Fantasy Tactics Advance right now,
Yeah.
so to me, like Triangle Strategy is the modern version of that game
Okay. Yeah.
because that's my hope. My hope is that it's like a modern version of Final Fantasy Tactics Advance and that it does
Good
it
way of
really
looking
well.
at it. Yeah.
So that's why I'm so excited. And of course with the beautiful art style of Octopath Traveler.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Obviously. So I'm
HD
most
8-bit.
excited probably about that.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah, and then of course we can talk about the sequel to Breath of the Wild. I think it's going to come this year, but I thought it was going to come last year.
You think so?
And
Are you hopeful for that?
yeah,
Okay.
I
Because
mean,
I feel like Nintendo needs a heavy hitter this year, and that is it. That is it.
I mean, if it's not that, it's Metroid Prime 4, and Metroid Prime 4
Don't
is
get me
definitely
excited.
not coming out
It's
this
not
year.
coming out this year. It has a
No.
long ways to go.
So
Long ways
yeah.
to go. I'm excited for Pokemon Legends Arceus. I think with this being, I think this is the refresh that Pokemon needs. You can tell that people are slowly getting a little tired of Pokemon and it just continuing on with the just samey formula that they've been doing for decades. And I think this is what it needs. Legends Arceus is the open world game that everyone's been wanting. Is this going to be the open world game that everyone wants right now? Maybe the next one. But I'm excited to see the first block being set and see where we can go from there. So Legends Arceus, and honestly, that's kind of the reason why I also put down Crystal was because I was like, man, I'm playing this and I know that Soul Silver is a thing, and Soul Silver is obviously the remaster of Crystal and this of second generation, and it's so much better in every way that I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait for Analog to make the version of a DS, and then I'll jump into that. But yeah, I'm excited for Legends Arceus. I'm really, really excited for Legends Arceus. In regards to anything Xbox related, dude, I mean, it's Xbox now because they acquired them, but Starfield has so
my
much riding
gosh.
on it. Like, Austin, are you excited
Can't
that you have
wait.
an Xbox Series S so you can play Starfield?
Oh, I know. I mean, that's like the big reason why. Because I knew Starfield was coming, like Redfall, like these games you have. Like, I was like, this is a good investment because there are some awesome games coming to the. Yeah, I'm really excited for Starfield. It's going to be so cool.
Yeah, and these are all big AAA things that we're talking about. Adam, I know you're so excited for the little games. Card Shark is one of them. In regards to everything that's more of the indie side of things, start off with Card Shark. Do we have a release date for that yet or no?
It just said it's 2022.
Okay.
That's all we know. So who knows? It probably just shadow drop one day. Nintendo will be like, "Hey, it's out," and then I'll
There
be
it
like,
is.
"Yes."
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, I've talked about this game before, but it's this very kind of artsy take on like 18th century France, where you are basically trying to cheat at cards. So mechanically, what it's doing
Nice.
just looks so interesting, so cool to
It
me.
is very
So
interesting,
I'm
yeah.
very excited for that one. Yep.
In regards to your other game releases, I'm excited for TMNT Shredder's Revenge. Dude, TMNT all the way. The way that they it's kind of like a remake, honestly. It looks so good. Is there other game releases that you're excited for, Adam?
Yeah, I'll hold on to, I guess I'll go through two real quick. So Sea of Stars is a prequel game to The Messenger. If y'all remember a very cool like Ninja Gaiden esque game that switched from like 8-bit linear game to like
Okay.
16-bit
Yeah.
Metroidvania, and it was just so cool and has such a cool writing and everything to it. But this is more in the sense of like a kind of Chrono Cross type game, I
Oh,
think I've
okay.
heard, or
Okay.
a Chrono Trigger type game. But it's like based off of like lore that was in the Messenger, and then it's set, as a prequel. So I'm very excited about that one. And then Demon Throttle is another game I'm very excited for this year. And if you guys remember, this is a game that is only being released physically.
Oh
It's,
yeah.
Oh,
an indie game.
nice.
Yeah.
And only as like a limited run through special reserve games. So
Oh
if you
my
want it, it's
gosh.
too late. You can't buy it. You
Yeah.
can't
Oh
buy it
my.
anymore. They're out of orders, and they'll come out sometime this year. And then the people that get to play it are the people that get to play it.
Yeah.
And I'll be one of them.
Sweet.
Wow.
So
Sweet.
we'll see how. Hopefully, it's really good.
That's
I love
exciting, dude.
that.
If
I
there's
love
any,
that.
I know people can't see our actual document, but the one publisher that's coming out every single time is Devolver Digital. Dude, they are
Hmm.
knocking it out of the park in regards to who they are choosing to publish games for. Like, they are
Yeah.
so good. They're so good.
Yeah. I think we talked about. I'm a little worried. They just went from being a privately held company to like now they're publicly owned, and I
Yeah.
think Tencent bought a majority
They
or a
did.
large portion. So
They
I'm
did.
I'm a little worried on like, will they still be as special as they have been? Will they
Yeah.
be able to maintain their identity in the same way? We'll see.
We'll
But
have to wait and
you're
see.
just hoping, right?
Yeah. I am been a huge fan of online games. I mean, I play Warzone Pacific with my brothers whenever I can. I haven't
Hmm.
played Halo Infinite in a while, but I've had that itch to get back into the multiplayer. But I enjoy the multiplayer games that are like The Division. It's like a shared universe that you can jump in with other people and go through
Yeah.
these stories and things like that. And so I feel like deep down in my bones that the Last of Us factions is what they're trying to do. Like, I feel like Last of Us Factions it was supposed to be just a multiplayer mode for The Last of Us 2. There was a multiplayer mode for the original Last of Us. I loved it because I love the gameplay to Last of Us. And so I'm hoping that with them holding back on factions for so long, it's because they're trying to make a bigger multiplayer game with it. And so that's my hope. I hope that's what factions is, because man, that would be the dream, is for a
Mm.
multiplayer game with the gameplay of The Last of Us 2. The Last of Us 2 is brutal, and it is as close to Metal Gear Solid 5, in my opinion, that we can get from a third party. So, and Metal Gear Solid 5, in my opinion, is the best gameplay of any action adventure video game of all time ever made, created. That's it. Full stop. So that is mine. And lastly, my last two are in regards to Kojima. I hope we get to see what Hideo Kojima is working on next. Hopefully it's Silent Hills. There's no reason why Guillermo del Toro will say otherwise, because he did multiple times at the Game Awards. And
Oh my gosh.
lastly, I'm hoping that we get to see a sneak peek at the Metal Gear Solid remakes and remasters that are in development right now. They're in development. There's no way that they're not. They're in development. And so hopefully either at Summer Game Fest or at E3, we get to see a little something to what Konami is doing. Konami is working behind the scenes. They're getting stuff done. So that's my hopes. Adam, any last things you want to touch on before we end off?
Just two games I'm really looking out for more info on. Whatever Blue Point's next game ends up being.
Yes.
I hope like we get some kind of announcement of that
Yes.
sometime this year. And then I really, really, really want to see more of Earthblade,
Yes.
which is the next game from Extremely OK Games, which they're the developers of Celeste. They call it a 2D explore action game in a seamless pixel art world, which makes me think it's
Sounds
either
awesome.
That's
I know
really
which
cool.
which I'm like, I hope it's a top down Zelda like.
Yeah,
That's like my dream,
Don't
because
get me
like
excited,
so
dude.
much of my gaming history comes from 2D top down Zelda. Or does explore action mean it's some kind of Metroidvania? And both of
Yes.
those things just make me super excited. So I just
Yes.
want like confirmation. I just want to see some more of what that is going to be.
I have to say the title Earthblade sounds dope. And one thing
That
that you
is
do have
dope.
in your list real quick, and I'm not going to spend much time on this, Spartacus, PlayStation's subscription service. I want to know what that is soon. It's 3 tiers. I want to know what each tier costs. What are we getting in these tiers? Because all we know is by rumors of what people have been saying. So looking forward to that as well. Before we end off, guys, do we have any last things we want to say to the viewers, to the listeners before we end off? Adam, I want to start with you. Nod your head, yes or no? Austin, nod your head, yes or no?
Sure. Happy New Year, everyone.
Sweet.
Thanks for listening,
Sweet.
and we appreciate you.
Yes, that's
all
awesome.
I gotta say.
Thank you, Austin. Those who are watching, those who are listening, thank you for joining us here on the XP Podcast. We have a new year of content coming your way, so thank you for staying tuned and listening and watching. Leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe. I know on Spotify you can even rate podcasts on there now, so rate the podcast on there and give us a 5-star, please. Thank you. That'd be awesome. And check out the other content that's on the channel. I also have a movie podcast called Press Play, where we review movies. I literally just did a 2-hour review on Spider-Man No Way Home just before I got into this call. So go check out our review on that. That will be on the channel the week that this goes up, because it's going to be the first video. I'm only the only one on the video, but go check it out. Enjoy it for your amusement. Until next time, peace out.